Please welcome our guest, Kobe Bryant. When did you start playing basketball, and at what age did it become your primary focus?
I think I was just born to play, man. I started playing at like 2 years old. And my father wasn't one of these fathers that was like, you're going to play basketball, or, he wasn't one of those guys. He was just I was just around the game a lot, and I gravitated to the ball, and I was completely geeking out about like the smell of the ball and like the way it sounds when it hits concrete versus how it hits a parquet floor, and like the sound of the nets and the different material of the nets. And there's certain basketball hoops, like in high school gyms and in college gyms, the rim sits slightly above the lower part of the backboard. And it was like I was geeking out if I got into a gym which was like the NBA, with the lower stanchion of the backboard and the hoop were completely parallel with each other. Like little shit like that would freak me out. So to answer your question, I was born to do this thing, man, and I did it nonstop all day long, from the age of 2 to when I retired, man. Well, no, I mean it's that's the trick, isn't it? It's finding what you love to do. And we talk about hard work all the time. It's like, man, if you got to get up every single morning and remind yourself how hard you need to work, you probably need to choose a different profession, because that shouldn't be there. Because I wake up in the morning excited to get to it. If I'm not training, I'm missing it. If I'm not watching a game of basketball, I miss it. There's no place I'd rather be. And if you have that feeling, then you're truly doing what God has put you on this earth to do. Well, I mean, in business, it's a little different. I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. But you always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that. And that's what I tried to do when I first came in the league. But basketball is such a direct competition sport that me coming in at 17, I hated when like my teammates would say, I get hit with an elbow, right? Shaq would hit me with an elbow in practice, and Nick Van Exel would come up and say, "Are you okay?" I'm like, motherfucker, what? Are you okay? What the hell's wrong with you? So like I always had that extra chip on my shoulder. So like every day in practice for me was really trying to annihilate everybody that I was playing against, because I wanted to prove you don't need to babysit me. Like I'm fine, And so it's always that competitive nature, the work ethic, and curiosity. Because I asked a lot of questions. Playing with Byron Scott, I asked him a lot of questions. Eddie Jones, who was great at chasing guards off the screens, and I didn't understand how to do that. I would sit with him before practice, after practice. Magic, James Worthy, Kurt Rambis, Kareem Abdul, all the Laker greats. I would always sit down and just ask them questions about certain games that I studied growing up. What actually happened there? What did you feel there? Why? Bird tough to defend. Why? Because he looks slow as shit to me. So I'm missing something. So like, tell me what I'm missing. You know what I mean? And so I would always ask questions and try to learn as much as I could. Right? No? I was a different generation. You guys probably never even seen Larry Bird play, which is. How many have seen Larry Bird play?
Hey, everybody's seen Larry Bird play.
That's not a high enough percentage. We got some work to do.
So let's dive into your mindset, because I really think that you have so many things that translate beyond sports. When we talk about mindset and beliefs, we talk about limiting beliefs as sort of being the ceiling of your potential. How you think about yourself, whether positively or negatively, that's probably what your potential is. How do you stretch your beliefs and make sure you are continually pushing the boundaries of your comfort zone and your capabilities?
I just dream. I have dreams, and dreams they should be pure. I think a lot of times when we're born into this world, we actually wind up going backwards. And it seems like the more we mature, the more responsible our dreams become. The more governors we put on ourselves and our ability to dream and to reimagine. And it's always a fight for us parents and for you guys to make sure that your dreams always stay pure. And so it's not a matter of pushing beyond your limitations or expectations. It's really a matter of protecting your dreams, protecting your imagination. That's really the key. And when you do that, then the world just seems limitless. Well, I always dreamed as a kid that, it was possible to score 80 or 90 or 100. I always just had a dream. Like sometimes you lay down in bed and you visualize things. And you just kind of, that's at least how I would go to sleep. I'd lay down, I'd imagine playing for the Lakers, and I'd imagine what the uniforms look like. I'd imagine who would be playing, and, the smell of the arena and all sorts of stuff. And I would see myself, getting hot, score 10 straight points. But in a dream, why would you ever interrupt that? You're not going to have a dream and be like, okay, then he misses his next 6. It's not going to happen. So you just keep dreaming and dreaming and dreaming, and before I go to sleep, I'm at 120 points, And so when you grow up, downloading that into your brain over and over and over, and then, that summer, I made 1,000 shots a day. 1,000, right? That's on top of weight training and my conditioning. I made 1,000 shots, and they weren't just shots. It were shots that you saw in that game. They were specific shots. It was coming out of the corner, going to the pinch post, footwork in the post, coming off the screen. It was very specific. So when you download that into your system and you go out in the court and you're just executing things that you've done thousands of times before, and you have that dream, then that becomes possible.
Yeah, everything's been not choreographed, but it's been practiced so many times that it's second nature.
There's why reinvent it? I don't understand that. You go out and play the game and you're just trying to create something new. No, this is what I do. This is what I do extremely well. You're gonna have to stop me from doing that. And if you do stop me from doing that, I have a counter to that. Done. My philosophy was a very simple one. And this is where I think film plays a big part of my life. Rudy was one of my favorite films growing up. Right? And if you guys haven't seen Rudy, I suggest you watch Rudy.
The reason why it's a tepid, it's Notre Dame. It's Notre Dame, so we don't get crazy about that.
I think the USC football program has done okay over the years. So it's. But after watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day, so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, you do that for 20 years, what do you have? Phil introduced meditation to us when he came to our team in 99, 2000. And it was something that I instantly gravitated to because I could see the effects. Right? I used to watch, studying the games, the Bulls teams, and watching their demeanor, watching their composure, playing in a tough place in Utah during the finals and being down 17, but everybody was like this. You couldn't tell if they were down 17 or up 20 or a tie game. It never changed. And I was wondering why the hell that is. And that's when I started doing more research. And when Phil came, I immediately gravitated to it and found myself accepted the challenge of finding what that space is. And for the 81-point game, man, to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about the game. My knee was hurting so much. I didn't know then, but I had a flap of joint, cartilage stuck in my joint line. And so my mind was really trying to go to a place where I don't feel that pain. And the game started, and because of that, I was just in a different space. I wasn't worried about what was to come. I wasn't worried about what just happened. I was just here. When you're just there in the moment, playing plays right in front of you, your focus is heightened because nothing else matters. And that's the space I've tried to get to. Well, here's what practice was about. Not for me, just for standpoint that I enjoyed playing. I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed getting better. But as a leader of a team, it's also your responsibility to elevate the rest of the guys. And what people tend to get stuck on a lot is saying, okay, the way to make players better is to pass them the ball when they're open. That's a very trivial way to look at things. What you have to do is you have to get them emotionally to want to be better. You have to get them to an emotional space where they wake up every morning driven to be the best version of themselves, right? And how do you do that? And in practice, for me, it was a chance to drive them, to challenge them, right? And this is where you have to know your teammates, because if it's late, you just had a back-to-back, and we had practice the next day, and you show up, and guys don't feel like going through the motions, don't feel like practicing. It's important to know each and every one of them individually, personally, because then you know what nerve to touch. Some guys, it's like, okay, come on, we can do this. That'll get them going. Other guys, no. You got to figure out what button to push. And power is always spam. If I tell them how they lost in the gold medal to us and how they're going to lose again, how I'm going to beat your ass in practice just like I beat you in the gold medal game, he'd hate that. He'd hate that. But that's what practice was. You have to drive them. You absolutely have to. And if practice is more intense and harder than a Game 7 will be, then a Game 7 will be easy. If it's not, then that's when teams start folding and capitulating.